If you've ever wondered how to loosen up, paint more freely, or include your friends and family in your art, yes, even those who say that they do not paint, this process is a gentle way to bring everybody into the joy of creativity. Once again, I have my 9-year-old daughter with me, and together she and I are going to loosen up, make some marks, make a mess. Sometimes the best way to loosen up is to grab a huge sheet of paper and just make a mess. And this holiday season could be the perfect time to try it out. Speaking of loosening up, if you need a little creative reset before, during, or after the holiday chaos, please check out my Creative Wellness 101 course. It's my way of helping you find calm, joy, and confidence through art. Currently, it is on a special deal for Black Friday. You need to use the link in the description, and I'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner here too. And the code to use at checkout is Black Friday Rest 46. It's on your screen right now. A little gift for you with a special deal for Black Friday this year. All right, let's get back to it. Part of the magic of this exercise is that I'm taking one 30-inch by 22-inch piece of watercolor paper. You can also use mixed media paper. You can also use plain butcher paper if you just want to throw markers around and pencils. You know how everyone's always looking for an activity that everyone can do together, or at least if one group is doing something that other people don't want to do, you need kind of that second activity. Well, for those of you who have paints handy, or markers, or colored pencils, any art supplies at all, I cannot recommend this activity enough. Because this is not going to be the finished product, this will be cut up into 8 separate pieces. There's very little pressure to make this look like anything. That means your aunt, your grandma, your kids, your toddlers, whoever can participate in this. They'll get a chance to make a mess and not have pressure on them to make anything that looks like anything. And I think they'll be delighted, because how often do you get to paint as a grown-up? If you are not intentionally seeking out art and art supplies, like many of our friends and family and loved ones are not, because of whatever reason, they thought they weren't good enough, they are trying to be super serious. No, I'm just kidding. But people are afraid of it. People are afraid of being creative, and they're afraid of being vulnerable, and they're afraid of messing up. And this is an activity that you can't mess up. I'm choosing to use a straight edge here just to get some straight lines, only because of all of the chaos in the background. But no straight lines are required. This is a free-for-all. If the whole thing turns brown, it's still fun. And how often do people, again, who are not, potentially you and me, who might paint, how often do people get to make a mess and have that be kind of the goal? It's such a unique situation that I take for granted, but I know that, my in-laws are not painting in their spare time. My neighbors are not painting in their spare time, and that's totally fine. They don't need to be. But what a special experience to have somebody like you or me to invite them in to try something out of their comfort zone, but that is very, very, very doable, because all you have to do is take a paintbrush or a marker and scribble, and then wait for it to dry, and then do some more. There's such a low level of risk that I think it would be a pretty special thing. Now, my daughter was humoring me because I decided I wanted to keep doing the straight edge all over the place. And she was kind of over it. But she did hang in there and do it with me a little bit longer than she wanted. I did dry this paint periodically with my hairdryer. I did not film that, but if you are going to be switching colors, I would recommend drying it between layers. That way, if someone does something they hate, you can wipe it off with a wet paper towel or a baby wipe or something. But also, when you start switching between warm colors and cool colors and complementary colors that can all kind of turn to gray and brown, it will limit the chance of that happening and will just allow them to be layered on top of one another. And that's a great way to kind of ensure success for this project. This is just one big sheet of paper. It will be cut up into 8 sheets. So any one of the sheets will have some version of all of these marks that we're making on it. That's part of the reason that I wanted to extend the white all over. I'm not planning out what's going to be on each of the smaller sheets. I just want to make sure that I have enough of each distinct mark or color that we're doing that it will appear on these different sheets. So sorry about all of the heads in this thing. I had my camera down low enough so that you could see the paper, but also that means our heads are kind of right there. Most of the time I sit at my desk, but we stood this day, so the camera was much closer to our heads than normal. Anyway, I realized it was still too orange. I decided I would cover it up with some more neutral colors. This is a celadon green. And you can orchestrate this if you choose to bring some people in, especially who are non-artists. You can orchestrate this as much as you want or as little as you want. If you want to limit the colors to all warm colors or all cool colors so that they will go together, or pre-mix colors, or right, you could do rounds. You can do rounds, before, if it's a holiday thing, before the appetizers come out, you guys can do a round. After the appetizers, do another round, right? After the turkey, but before the dessert. You can do it as often as you want, or you can do it at, 10 a.m. when people are coming and people are just catching up and trying to figure out what everyone's up to. If you have college students who are home and getting grilled by different relatives about what they're going to do with their lives, or if you are the college student who's wondering or who's trying to avoid people asking them those questions, steer them towards some paint. And there are other variations of this that I think are really cool art things as well. If you don't want to get all the paints out and do something like this, that's fine. Obviously, it's fine. You can do whatever you want. But other variations of this I've seen are having like butcher paper for the tablecloth. So you just give people Sharpies. Well, maybe not Sharpies because those can go through and wreck your table. Maybe just Crayola markers. And they can just doodle on the paper. And that can be your tablecloth, or it can just be like a pre-tablecloth and you can take it off before you actually serve dinner. People can write down what they're thankful for. People can write down their favorite traditions. People can write down their favorite nickname. I don't know. Sky's the limit, people. I was really into this straight edge situation on this day. I don't know why. We may never know why, but this is what I decided I was going to do. After I laid one color down, when I remembered, I would spritz some water on it, let it sit a minute, wipe it up with some paper towel just to get those little dots. You can see them best in the lower right-hand corner. In the interest of covering up a decent chunk of these really bright oranges and fluorescent reds, I could have just used a bigger brush and gotten huge brush strokes to cover up a lot of it. Again, for whatever reason, I took the straight edge route. And I don't mind it at all, actually. I kind of like the juxtaposition with the chaos in the background and then some of these not unchaotic, but just more organized and intentional straight edge shapes. Now, if you were the one cooking the meal, and you'd also like people to do this, you may need to do some demo stuff just to give people permission to freely engage with the supplies. You may need to set up a deputy in charge to keep people engaged at the table. Because I think that without the demo of somebody really just making a mess and scribbling, people can get caught up in not wanting to be the one person who, quote, messes it up. I know that's a thing. We've all been there. We've literally all been there. It's hard to have that mindset and approach something loose and free. Understandable. But my hope is that if you put a paintbrush in someone's hand, maybe even load it with paint first, that even your Uncle Carl will take a stab at it. I had my daughter tell me where to put this color, which is another thing you could do, especially if you're with people who have mobility issues or, have trouble with their backs, can't lean over as much, or insert any other thing here. You can have them point at things. People who are nonverbal, you can have them point at different areas, and then you can be their hands. And I'm engineering this part because in some ways I just wanted to make sure that a lot more of the orange got covered up. So I am steering this part. And I let her do this. This is another catalyst wedge that has little scoops taken out of it, so it makes stripes. And she really likes this tool. The part of it that I like, and the part that I think should probably be explained to people before it's done, before you have them help you, is just to explain that this is just a doodle page. It's all going to be cut up so that no one gets in their head too much, and they might already, and that's fine. But I think I'm going to try it this year. I think I'm going to try it maybe when my brother and sister-in-law are here, maybe when my in-laws are here, maybe both, just to get people doing something they don't normally do. I think one of the reasons I like art and I like painting is that it feels special when you've made something that didn't exist before. And from my perspective, it feels like what a gift to give someone else that opportunity, especially when they normally wouldn't take it. So in this way, when I let my daughter go wild and just make whatever marks, and you can see sometimes she's influenced by my marks, sometimes she's not. Totally fine. Sometimes I'm influenced by hers and sometimes I'm not. Going back over to make some small marks here. There's nothing here that is award-winning art, and there's nothing here that ruined the entire thing. Had we taken a quarter of it and painted it one solid color, still fine. If you are interested in doing this and interested in sharing this experience with somebody else, one, I highly recommend it. I mean, how cool. We don't make things with each other anymore. The last time I did a group project with people that wasn't art related was like at work when I worked in my corporate job. And it was not a let's share this experience together moment. It was more of a, oh my gosh, we got to get this thing done because I want to go home moment. And this process can be just like if you're doing things, it's just easier to talk So you're not just staring at someone's eyeballs, especially if they're your aunt's cousin from Iowa who's just visiting. You've never met this person before and they don't know you. It's just a really low pressure way, in my mind. It might feel high pressure to people who have not done art, fair, but it's a low stakes way to also guide the conversation. And for those of you who are introverted or tend to be introverted, and I'm terrible with small talk. I'm terrible. I wish I was good at it. I just don't. I'm just not interested. I want to know like what your biggest hopes and fears are in life. I'm not as worried about us chit-chatting about the weather. I'm happy to do it with people that I like, and even people that I haven't met yet. I'm happy to try. I know it's not my strength, and I'm so much more interested in who people are than just saying words back and forth. So I like to do things. If I'm doing something with somebody, we don't have to talk. And if we want to talk, we have something to talk about, because we can talk about, ooh, I like that blue mark. Oh, can I use that pen when you're done? It just gives itself the talking parts kind of taken care of for you. It's all right there. You guys can all have this shared experience now that you can talk about. So I would love to know what you guys are thinking about this. Is this a great idea? Is this a terrible idea? I had so much fun with my daughter. She and I are set for this. She will be my little deputy if we do this for the holidays. Tell me what you think. Have you done this with your family before? Did it work? Was it super awkward and strange? Was it miraculously amazing and set the tone for the whole evening? Tell me in the comments. Tell me if you think you might try this year. I would love to hear, and I would love to know how it turns out. It just makes sense to me in my brain. It just makes sense. What a fun, different way to relate to people that you potentially have known your entire life, but you've never made art with them. And they don't have to feel pressure to make art because we're just putting colors on paper. I like to make a rule with my daughter that each time we add a new color, we're going to put it on with something different. So when we add orange, we're going to spray it on with some, wet paper, smear it on with wet paint and water, see what that does. Then after that, whatever other colors we use, I use color shapers, I used paintbrushes, I used straight edge a lot. Then I used some baby wipes to do some glazes. I used different pens and pencils. Again, this is something that if you do that in stages, you could even play like a follow the leader game where one person, you got to go around the table. If you have 5 people there, each person gets to decide one tool and one color to add, or just a color, or just a tool, whatever you have handy, infinitely flexible. At the end, once it's dry, you can cut it up into 8 pieces, cut it up into 24 pieces, cut it up in however big or small that makes sense for what is there. I kind of wish I'd cut this up, like halved every piece again, and so I might still do that. But for the moment, these 8 pieces, you'll probably have some that turn out that you're like, oh my gosh, I kind of love this exactly how it is. I want to keep it like this. Great, set that piece to the side. If you have pieces that you don't love as much, I'm kind of sorting it right here by priority. The ones on the right are my favorites. These I feel like are the least resolved, but there's potential. So now you can take over this project and you can decide what's missing. These I decided there need to be some different values, a lot of mid-tones in there. I'm adding some white. And I'm going to add white on everything. Whatever. Now it becomes like a 3D, loosely 3D grid journal page. A grid journal page I can shuffle around. Whatever I add to one, I'm going to add to all of them. or at least most. And you can decide how to finish them. Or if you just want to cut it up as it is and give everyone a piece as on their way out, everyone can pick a piece. Awesome. I bet they will cherish that piece. I bet they will put that someplace in their house where they can be reminded, hey, I made something. I made something with my nieces and nephew. I made something with my grandchildren. I made something with my grandparents. What a special souvenir from a family gathering or a friend gathering. So you didn't ask for it. Totally unsolicited advice for an activity this holiday season. But if you're interested and you need an activity or you need something to do with people from all different backgrounds, all different perspectives, all different whatever, this is a great unifying activity to literally get everyone on the same page, focused on one thing that has nothing to do with politics, has nothing to do with, the horrors in the world in various places. It's just something where everyone can be creative and spend time together and make something that didn't exist before. And if you're not going to a family gathering where you think this makes sense, also fine. Play with it by yourself. You take all these lessons with you. Remember that you do not have to have anything figured out when you are using it either. Just enjoy the process and have fun. Remember, the big page is all for play. That can be for everybody. It can just be for you. After you cut it up, if you'd like to do some more editing and polishing, that's your window to do whatever you'd like to do. Before you leave, do me a favor, tell me in the comments who's someone you'd love to make art with, even if they say they don't paint. Is it your spouse? Is it your kids, your grandkids, your grandparents, your boss, your coworkers, your best friend? Tell me who it is in the comments. And then go play.